The Southern Confederacy of 1861 through 1865 was anti-American. In the 1780s, in the run-up into the creating or passing of the Constitution, our government banned the use of titles of royalty or nobility like dukes and earls and barons. And what was George Washington, our leader, called? He wasn't addressed as Your Highness. He was addressed as Mr. President. This sort of leveling of society was a push towards equality. And the northern states all got rid of slavery in the 1820s and the 1830s because this was all an extension of getting rid of the rule of the monarch, George III, in America, which was accomplished by the American Revolution. But Southerners had gone in the other direction, and they continued in the early 1800s to hold on to a kind of monarchy, miniature monarchy. Each plantation owner acted like he was a miniature monarch. Each plantation mansion was a kind of monarch palace, king's palace, and each plantation owner was a mini king. The vertical distance between a king and his subjects was mirrored in or paralleled by the vertical distance between the slave owner and his slaves. Each plantation owner was literally a miniature king. So in that sense, the South, even before the Civil War and the creation of the Confederacy, the South had an anti-American spirit. And when the founders of the Confederacy wrote their Constitution, they wrote into the Constitution slavery as a foundation of their society. Slavery was recognized explicitly as the natural, normal state of affairs. Their glorification of slavery was really a glorification of the state of plantation owners as royalty. The country had done away with titles of royalty. Here we are building up these plantation owners as de facto kings. So you can see they were completely in opposition to the American spirit. Thank God the South had the good sense to lose the American Civil War, and the victory by the North was not so much a northern victory. It was a victory for the whole country because the South was freed from the burden of owning slaves. You realize that slavery was a house of cards, because any time the slaves wanted to run away, they could. They didn't have, each plantation was a prison, but without the barbed wire and the insurmountable fences that a prison requires. There were no guard towers in which guards had rifles with which to shoot slaves that were escaping over the fence at night. There was literally nothing stopping slaves from escaping at night. And en masse. And each slave, the price of a slave was like $2,000. Now, in today's money, that would be 2 times 10, it'd be 20,000, but it would be more than that. It would probably be 50,000 or even more. So you cannot blame slave owners from having sleepless nights, being worried to death that their slaves might run away en masse if the new president, President Lincoln, went around the country making speeches condemning slavery and calling for the slaves to come to the North. We can take care of you up here. Now, there had been anti-slavery presidents before Lincoln, but they were diplomatic about slavery, like John Quincy Adams was a big-time anti-slavery president, but he didn't make speeches calling for the slaves to come up north. And by the time Lincoln came in, the reason why the South seceded was they were afraid he might be a new type of abolitionist. They were thinking Lincoln might be John Brown, a type of John Brown, a radical anti-slavery president. That was the worst case scenario. Lincoln as a type of John Brown, an educated John Brown, a John Brown with an expanded intellect. Now you can see why the plantation owners pushed for secession. Secession was a last desperate hope to separate themselves from this new president, to put him in a category where he wasn't even the president of the country. And by seceding from the country, they brought on the Civil War, and all the Southern men joined the army and went north to fight the North. And what happened to the slaves? They were left without supervision. So the thing that the slave owners feared, in other words, mass escaping by the slaves, that's what happened during the Civil War, because all the men were in the army, and women couldn't hold on to couldn't keep the slaves in check. The South had no idea what they were getting themselves into when they seceded from the Union. All right, a transcript of this video in the description box under the video.